QAnon.
Satanic rituals, drinking children's blood, adrenochrome.
Where did they come from?
QAnon is the single greatest information operation in the history of humanity.
How responsible are they for the attack on the Capitol?
Should Q be classified as a domestic terrorism threat?
And where are they headed next?
They will excuse and encourage any amount of violence against their political enemies.
I'm Sari Cohen with Hollywood First Look Features. I'm here right now with Bayan Joonam, the filmmaker behind the Vice TV series QAnon, The Search for Q. Bayan, I am so excited to be talking to you today.
I'm excited to talk to you as well. Thanks for having me.
I follow this. I was so excited to screen this and be able to talk to you today. I thought I knew everything there was to know about QAnon, but watching your docuseries, I learned so much. I had no idea how deep this actually went. So you asked 3 questions. Why does Q exist? Who is Q? And what is Q? What did you find out?
Yeah, I think, each of those questions we spent an hour trying to get to the bottom of, right? The series was structured that each episode dives into one of those things. And I think, Q, it is unquestionable at this point that Q evolved so much from the end of 2017 when the first Q drop came out, and then, January 6th, I want to say, when the insurrection happened. And it even changed hands over that time. So what we discovered was something that kind of was started on an internet community that prized itself on kind of incubating outrageous concepts, incubating and concepts that could spread across the internet with ease and quickly. And I think with QAnon, we found that it was the most successful of a number of these kind of posts or these games that were launched on 4chan. To get to who is behind it, we investigated 4 possible theories that are kind of like right now are the most discussed, I would say, in this question around who is QAnon. And without giving your viewers too much answers, I will say that, it became something that raised our eyebrows a lot more the further we got into it, in seeing, people who we as Americans trusted to run operations like this abroad were now taking advantage of QAnon and the type of psychological operation here at home. And I think that's really shocking, and something that we wanted to, from where we saw the conversation around QAnon, we wanted to move the football down the field a few more yards to keep discussing like who really is behind this and what their objectives might be.
Let me ask you, do you think Q could exist today without social media?
No. No, I don't think Q would exist or have the radicalizing impact that it had without social media and the internet kind of helping to amplify that message or spread it further and wider. And I love that your question, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. So I will say that, no, I don't think it could have spread as far. I don't think it could have radicalized as fast. But the playbook in which it radicalized has existed for a long time.
One thing that really surprised me is the amount of people that actually have been radicalized and do believe in this. Where do we even begin to untangle this web of disinformation?
That was one of the first questions I had coming into the doc, was how big is this really? Because, Facebook and social media, they have a way of making it hard to find. When you see the headlines, you maybe see somebody you were an acquaintance with or knew, and they're suddenly spreading it. So what we found on this journey was that the answer to that question was between 10 to 15% of the American population, or the population of America, believes in either Q proper, so is a follower or an anon of Q, and there's the basket of people who kind of believe in ideas that are tangential or peripheral to Q. And so when you put all of those ideas together, or all of those numbers together, you get to that 30 million people who have in some way shared or amplified or spread some facet of Q. Now, the second question that you had asked is a little more complicated, which is how do we untangle this web? And personally, I see it as an individual or patriotic kind of goal of mine to start opening up conversations again with people who I think we've lost contact with over the last 4 or 5 years over political disagreements. I think that we've often looked to Congress or social media companies to be the solution when in fact, something as simple as, re-engaging conversations with your neighbor or people that you've stopped talking to or may have blocked over social media. I personally believe that's the answer to this.
I like where you went with that. I think the tactic and conversation, listening, I guess, as opposed to trying to validate, I find is a better approach to take. Everyone, make sure you go check out QAnon, The Search for Q. It's available on vicetv.com. I'm Sari Cohen. See you next time.
QAnon.
Satanic rituals, drinking children's blood, adrenochrome.
Where did they come from?
QAnon is the single greatest information operation in the history of humanity.
How responsible are they for the attack on the Capitol?
Should Q be classified as a domestic terrorism threat?
And where are they headed next?
They will excuse and encourage any amount of violence against their political enemies.